जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जामसपात परमंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जामसपात परमंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम। नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 23, Devahuti's Lamentation, Text number 8. Anye punaha bhagavataha bruva udvijrambha. Anye punar bhagavato bruva udvijrambha. Anye punar bhagavato bruva udvijrambha. Vibhramsita artha rachanaha kim urukramasya. Vibhramsitartha rachanaha kim urukramasya. Vibhramsitartha rachanaha kim urukramasya. Siddha asi bhungshva vibhavan nija dharma dohan. Siddha si bhungshva vibhavan nija dharma dohan. Siddha si bhungshva vibhavan nija dharma dohan. Divyan naraihi duradhigan nripa vikriyabhihi. Divyan narai duradigan nripa vikriyabhihi. Divyan narai duradigan nripa vikriyabhihi. Anye punar bhagavato bhruva vijrambha. Vibhramsitartha rachanaha kimurukramasya. Siddhasi bhungshva vibhavan nija dharma dohan. Divyan narair duradhigan nripa vikriyabhihi. Anye punar bhagavato bhruva udvijrambha. Vibhramsitartha rachanaha kimurukramasya. Siddhasi bhungshva vibhavan nija dharma dohan. Divyan narai duradigan nripa vikriyabhihi. Anye others. Punaha, again, Bhagavataha, of the Lord. Bhruvaha, of the eyebrows. Udvijrambha, by the movement. Vibhramsita, annihilated. Artharachanaha, material achievements. Kim, what use? Urukramasya, of Lord Vishnu. Far stepping. Siddha, successful. Asi, you are. Bhungshva, enjoy. Vibhavan, the gifts. Nijadharma, by your own principles of devotion. Dohan, gained. Divyan, transcendental. Naraihi, by persons. Doradigan, difficult to obtain. Nripavikriyabhihi, proud of aristocracy. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Kardama Muni continued, what is the use of enjoyments other than the Lord's grace? All material achievements are subject to be annihilated simply by a movement of the eyebrows of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By your principles of devotion to your husband, you have achieved and can enjoy transcendental gifts very rarely obtained by persons proud of aristocracy and material possessions. Kindly repeat. Kardama Muni continued, what is the use of enjoyments other than the Lord's grace? All material achievements are subject to be annihilated simply by a movement of the eyebrows of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By your principles of devotion to your husband, you have achieved and can enjoy transcendental gifts very rarely obtained by persons proud of aristocracy and material possessions. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Chaitanya recommended that the greatest achievement of human life is to achieve the grace of the Lord, love of God. He said, Prema Pumartho Mahan. To achieve love of Godhead is the highest perfection of life. The same perfection is recommended by Kardama Muni to his wife. His wife belonged to a very aristocratic royal family. Generally, those who are very materialistic or who possess material wealth and prosperity are unable to appreciate the value of transcendental love of God. Although Devahuti was a princess coming from a very great royal family, fortunately, she was under the supervision of her great husband, Kardama Muni, who offered her the best gift which can be bestowed in human life, the grace of the Lord or love of God. The grace of the Lord was achieved by Devahuti by the goodwill and satisfaction of her husband. She served her husband, who was a great devotee and saintly person, with great sincerity, love, affection, and service. And Kardama Muni was satisfied. He willingly gave love of God, and he recommended that she accept it and enjoy it because he had already achieved it. Love of God is not an ordinary commodity. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was worshipped by Rupa Goswami because he distributed love of God, Krishna Prema, to everyone. Rupa Goswami praised him as Mahavadanya, a greatly munificent personality, because he was freely distributing to everyone love of Godhead, which is achieved by wise men only after many, many births. Krishna Prema, Krishna consciousness, is the highest gift which can be bestowed on anyone whom we presume to love. One word used in this verse, Nijadharma Dohan, is very significant. Devahuti, as the wife of Kardama Muni, achieved an invaluable gift from her husband because she was very faithful to him. For a woman, the first principle of religion is to be faithful to her husband. If, fortunately, the husband is a great personality, then the combination is perfect and the lives of both the wife and the husband are at once fulfilled. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Mande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. So Kardama Muni is saying, Bhagavataha Urukramasya Bhruva Udvijrambha Artha Rachanaha Vibramsita Kim Punya Punaha Kim Anye Punaha. So he is saying that Bhagavataha Urukramasya when the Supreme Lord, Bhagavataha, the Supreme Lord, who is known as Urukrama. Urukrama means he who can step very far, like Vamanadeva, with his 3 steps, he covered the whole universe. So he is called Urukrama. Krama means to take a step. Uru means very huge, large. So Urukrama means one who can take a very long or very large step, like Vamanadeva did. So Bhagavataha Urukramasya Bhruva Udvijrambha, when his Bhruva, when his eyebrow, Udvijrambha, he raises it, he twitches it a little bit. How much effort does it take to twitch our eyebrow or raise our eyebrow? Hardly an effort. If you want to raise your hand or raise your leg, you need to put in some amount of effort. But to raise your eyebrow, hardly any effort is required. So the Lord Urukrama, the Supreme Lord Urukrama, without any effort from his side, when it is said Bhruva Udvijrambha means with very little effort from his side, what happens? Artha Rachanaha Vibramsita. All the material achievements, Artha Rachanaha, all the material achievements of the people in this material world, Vibramsita, are destroyed within a second. Kim Anye Punaha. Then what is said to be of other things? What is the use of enjoyments? And then Kardama Muni is telling, why he is telling this is because Devahuti comes from a very royal family. She is the daughter of the emperor, Swayambhuva Manu. She has come from that background and now she is engaged in very menial services to her husband, Kardama Muni. Now Kardama Muni is telling, I want to gift you something for all the wonderful service that you have rendered me. So Devahuti may think, what gift my husband can give me? I have enjoyed so much big opulence. Therefore, he is telling, Kardama Muni is telling, that all these material opulences are of no value because in a second, simply without any effort, simply even if the Lord just by twitching his eyebrow with that much effort, he can destroy everything. So what is the value of all these things? So what is the gift I am going to give you is far more valuable than all these things. And so he is saying, Siddha Asi, you have become successful. Successful in what? Successful in rendering service to her husband. Why? Because Siddha Asi, Nija Dharma Dohan. So in Nija Dharma, in following her duty, whatever was prescribed for her as a woman, she has become successful. Nija Dharma Siddha Asi Dohan Vibhavan Bhungshva. Vibhavan Dohan Bhungshva. So in following your Nija Dharma, you become successful. You have properly executed your Nija Dharma, your personal duty, whatever was prescribed for you as a woman and as a wife. You have become successful, and therefore, Doha Vibhavan Doshan Dohan Bhungshva. Now these gifts which you have gained by the performance of your duty, Bhungshva, now you can enjoy. And what are these kinds of gifts that you have gained? Vibhavan, Divyan Vibhavan Dohan Bhungshva. Now you enjoy these transcendental gifts, not ordinary material gifts which can be destroyed in a fraction of a second without any effort by the Supreme Lord. So, enjoy these Divyan Vibhavan, these transcendental gifts you enjoy. What is the nature of these transcendental gifts? Nripa Vikriyabihi Naraihi Duradigan. They are very difficult to be obtained by people who are proud of aristocracy and material possessions. Whenever somebody becomes rich or he is born in an aristocratic family, what happens? He generally becomes proud of his material possessions, proud of his aristocratic family. That's a general tendency. By such people who have become proud of their material possessions and their aristocracy, this transcendental gift is not possible to be achieved. Duradigan, they are very, very difficult to be achieved. And so, therefore, it is very surprising that Devahuti, although born in a very aristocratic family, having enjoyed all kinds of material opulences, still she has achieved these transcendental gifts which are very difficult to be achieved for such people. So why? How did she achieve that? Because Nija Dharma Siddha Asi. She became perfect in following her Nija Dharma. What was her personal, whatever was prescribed for her according to the Shastras. So we have to understand this properly, because the word Nija Dharma is very significant as pointed out by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. What is the duty for a woman and a wife? The duty of a woman who is a wife is to serve her husband very nicely. That is the duty prescribed for the woman. What is the duty of a husband? The duty of a husband is to protect his wife under all circumstances and to give her transcendental knowledge, to give her advancement in spiritual life. That's the duty of the husband. So, everybody in the Varnashrama Dharma has specific duties to perform. So, the question comes, in the case of Devahuti, she was very fortunate to have Karda Mumuni as her husband. So, there was meaning in her performing service to him. The way she rendered very menial service, selflessly, she served him. It was meaningful because her husband was a great personality, and naturally, as we can see, he is gifting her transcendental knowledge and love of Godhead. So now, if a woman has got a husband who is not so great, such great personalities are not loitering in the street everywhere. They are not putting their names in the marriage bureau. You will not find such people so easily. So what happens to a woman who gets a husband who is not such a great personality, which is what happens to most of the women. Devahuti is a great exception. She is a great exception. Somehow by Krishna's mercy, she got such a great husband. But otherwise, what happens to the rest of the women? Even for such women, if they follow their prescribed duty, if they follow their Nija Dharma, then they will progress in their material and spiritual life. So the emphasis is on performing one's duty. Nija Dharma one has to perform without consideration of what one is going to get in return. My husband is not a great man, therefore what is the use of serving him? I will not serve him. That's not called duty. Duty means whatever is the position of my husband. He may be great, he may not be so great, as long as apatitam bhajet, as long as he is not fallen away from the principles of dharma, then the woman has to perform her duty. Her duty is to serve the husband. Now whether husband is able to perform his dharma of giving spiritual advancement to his wife or not is another matter altogether. husband is not able to perform the duty does not mean wife also should give up the duty. Wife should do her duty whether husband is able to do his duty or not. If he is capable, like Kardamamuni, he will give transcendental gift of love of God. If he is not capable of, if he is not that elevated, he may not be able to give love of God. But because of the performance of the duty by the wife, she will progress. Just like you take the case of Gandhari. Her husband Dhritarashtra was not highly spiritually elevated. He had so many material faults. He was so much attached to Duryodhana. All adharmic activities which Duryodhana did, Dhritarashtra also supported. All these kind of things. But Gandhari did not consider all that. Gandhari saw, what is my duty as a wife? Let me do. So although her husband was not very greatly spiritually elevated, she performed her duty. And because of that, Gandhari became spiritually elevated and she got many powers because of her tapasya, because of her pativratya, because of her chastity. She became a very powerful woman. And that is how she got the power of being able to look upon Duryodhana and convert his body to steel so that no weapon could harm him. So how did she get this power? This power she got simply by being faithful to her husband. That's all. So we can see, if one performs one's dharma without consideration, if one performs one's prescribed duty according to the Shastras, not my own mentally concocted duties. In today's world, Kali Yuga, everybody concocts his own duty and does whatever he wants and he thinks I am performing duty. That's not called duty. Duty means what is described for you in the Vedic scriptures. If one follows that, anybody, whether he is a Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahmana, woman, wife, mother, father, husband, whoever it is, they follow their respective prescribed duties, they will get different kinds of, materially also they will become powerful, spiritually also they will progress by developing their sattva-guna more and more, and gradually they will develop the knowledge that they are not the body, they are spirit, soul, they are part and parcel of Krishna, and finally they will also be able to get the shelter of a pure devotee and be able to go back to Godhead. This is the arrangement given in the Vedas. So now, what is the transcendental gift that Kardama Muni is giving to his wife Devhuti, which he himself has experienced, as mentioned by him in the previous words? So that gift that Kardama Muni is giving to his wife is described by Prabhupada in the purport. The greatest transcendental gift. What is the greatest transcendental gift that we can receive? That is described in the Chaitanya Manjusha. It is said there that Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajayasa Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadu Vargena Ya Kalpita Srimad-Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhor Matamidam Tatra Adaraha Naparaha. That Tatra Adaraha Naparaha, there is no greater conclusion to be respected by us than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Mataha, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's opinion. What is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's opinion? Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajayasa Tanayas. That Vrajayasa Tanaya, the son of the king of Vraja, which is Lord Krishna, he is the Aradhya Bhagavan. He is the only Lord to be exclusively worshipped. He is the most worshipable Supreme Lord. So, Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajayasa Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam. And as much worshipable is Lord Krishna, he is also worshipable his Dhama, Vraja Dhama. The spiritual abode of Goloka Vrindavan is non-different from Krishna, and therefore it is as worshipable as Lord Krishna. And Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadu Vargena Ya Kalpita. Vrajavadu. The Vrajavadus, the gopis of Vraja, Vrajavadu Vargena Ya Kalpita. Whatever Kachid Upasana, whatever form of worship the gopis conceived of in serving Lord Krishna, that is Ramya, that is the greatest form of devotional service. The unique conception of service rendered by the gopis to Krishna is in the mood of Parakiya Bhava, in the mood of paramour relationship, the form of conjugal relationship with the Supreme Lord. That is the highest form of devotional service that one can render to the Supreme Lord Krishna. And Srimad-Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. Srimad-Bhagavatam is Amala, is completely spotless. What happens is, in the Vedic literature, the Vedic literature is very, very vast. There are 4 Samhitas, there are 108 Upanishads, 18 Puranas, 2 Itihasas, so many Dharma Shastras, and so many Angas, Upangas, so many things are there in the Vedic literature. Very, very vast. You take any portion of the Vedic literature, it will have references to Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. How to follow religion, by following religion, how to get Artha, wealth, how to become opulent, and by becoming opulent, how to enjoy your senses, how to satisfy your desires, Kama Vasanas, and then finally, how to attain Moksha. Every literature, whether you take Ramayana, whether you take Mahabharata, whether you take any of the Puranas, whether you take the Upanishads, they will touch upon one or more of these aspects. If you look at the Upanishads and Vedanta Sutras, they are focused upon moksha. If you look at other scriptures like the Vedic, the Samhitas and the Dharma Shastras and all, they talk of follow dharma, how to be truthful, how to do good to others, how to be compassionate, how to give in charity, how to do tapasya, dana, etc. And so all this dharma, artha, kama and moksha are the 4 purusharthas which are described in the Vedic literature. Now Bhagavatam is the only Purana which does not touch upon any 4 of these things. It does not touch upon dharma, it does not touch upon artha, it does not touch upon kama, it does not touch upon moksha. In fact, in the very beginning of the Srimad-Bhagavatam, the first canto, first chapter, second verse, what does it say? Dharmaha projjita kaitavo atra. That all cheating religions are kicked out from the Bhagavatam. The first thing Bhagavatam does is kick out dharma, artha, kama, moksha. First, throw out all these things. So, what is it that Bhagavatam is giving then? What is the central topic that Bhagavatam is revolving around? What is the exclusive topic on which the Bhagavatam focuses? It is love of Krishna. And so therefore, Bhagavatam Amalam. Bhagavata is the Amala Purana. It is the spotless. It does not have the spots of dharma, artha, kama and moksha. And it is pramanam. It is the most authorized scripture. It has got all authority. It is not some self-concocted scripture. It is very authorized scripture. Srimad-Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. Prema Pumartho Mahan. So, all these 4 Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha, they are not the highest goal of life. These 4 Purusharthas are not the highest goal of life. The Panchama Purushartha, the 5th Purushartha, the 5th goal of life which is to be attained, which is the highest, is Prema Pumartho Mahan. The Mahan Pumartha, the Mahan Purushartha is the Panchama Purushartha, is the 5th aim of life, which is to achieve Krishna Prema, love of Godhead. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matamidam. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's opinion. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. And therefore, Tatradaraha Naparaha. There is no higher teaching than this. There is no higher conclusion than the conclusion given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, to achieve that Krishna Prema is the highest goal of life, and that highest goal is bestowed upon Devahuti by Kardama Muni. And now the important, that is why he is saying Divyan Dohan, Divyan Vibhavan. This transcendental gift I am giving you. So it's important to note how Devahuti got this gift of transcendental love of God, love of Krishna from her husband. How did she receive it? She received it because she executed her duty of serving her husband very faithfully, very sincerely, with love and affection, as it is stated by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. So, the key to achieving the highest goal of life, the key to achieving the Panchama Purushartha, the key to achieving Krishna Prema is what? Devotional service. Lord Krishna also talks about this in the Bhagavad-gita. Krishna says that yastu indriyani manasa niyamya arabate Arjuna karmendriyahi karma yogamasaktaha savishishyate. So Krishna says that of all the kinds of transcendentalists, of all kinds of yogis, saha vishishyate, he excels. Who excels? That yogi who yaha indriyani manasa niyamya arabate. He begins his devotional service. He begins the process of yoga by first controlling his senses, and then after controlling his senses, meaning following the four regulative principles, no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, gambling. The control of the senses is epitomized by these four principles. So, yaha niyamya arabate, one who from the very beginning practices controlling the senses by following the four regulative principles, and karmendriyehi karma yogam. He performs his devotional duties with his karma indriyas. Meaning, what are the karma indriyas? Our hands, our legs, our voice. We have to use all our karma indriyas in the service of Lord Krishna. One who begins like this, saha vishishyate, he will excel, he will achieve the highest goal of life. That means the secret to achieving Krishna Prema is we have to render menial service to the spiritual master, to Srila Prabhupada, with our hands and legs, and we have to, and our voice and our karma indriyas, we have to sweat it out. Moment we say karma indriyas, if we have to engage our hands and legs and voice and all these in Krishna's service, what happens? Our mind has also to be involved. Why mind has to be involved? Because the karma indriyas are directed by the mind. So without involvement of the mind, you cannot engage in your karma indriyas in the service of Krishna. And for the mind to engage in the service of Krishna, for the mind to engage in the service of the spiritual master, for the mind to engage the karma indriyas in the service of Srila Prabhupada, intelligence is required. I cannot do it without intelligence. Blindly I cannot do, no. I need to use my intelligence. So when we engage our karma indriyas in serving the instructions of the spiritual master, it means that mind and intelligence are also involved. So simply by following the instructions given by the spiritual master, Prabhupada has given a system how everybody is given his respective duties, allocated his respective duties. So we have to, somebody has to clean the floor of the temple hall, somebody has to arrange the mic, somebody has to fix the camera, somebody has to go and do the cooking, somebody has to become assistant cook, somebody has to become assistant pujari, somebody has to do pujari service, somebody has to go and do folk service, he has to go and preach to the college boys, somebody has to go and preach to the congregation devotees, somebody has to go out and collect money. So externally it looks like very simple activities. We are going using our mind and intelligence and to engage our karma indriyas in carrying out whatever duty has been assigned to me. It appears very simple and like material activity. But what is the principle which is acting? Krishna says, karma indriyehi karma yogam asaktaha. One is unattached to the results, meaning one is not desirous to enjoy the results which is coming out of engaging my karma indriyas and my mind and intelligence in service of spiritual master's instructions. So if I am going and collecting money and coming from somebody, I am collecting some donation and coming, I am not attached to that money because I am going to come and give it, hand it over to the accountant, it goes to the bank. Not one single rupee comes to me. After that, I'll bring a check for 1 lakh rupees or 10 lakh rupees or 1 crore rupees also. I'll go and deposit in the account, and then I'll go to my temple president or my temple commander or whoever is the assigned person, and I'll say, Prabhu, one voucher, 150 rupees, please approve. And that Prabhu will ask 100 questions. Why you spend this 150 rupees? You could have done it in 100 rupees. Just now I brought 1 crore rupees, check and I deposited. 150 rupees I have to give explanation. we don't feel any resentment in that, no. We are quite comfortable. Why? Because asaktaha, we are not attached to that result. Result has come. I brought the check. I am not attached to that result. For myself. For Krishna and for Prabhupada I am attached. I want to do service for Srila Prabhupada to please him. So I want to collect more money. I want to make more devotees. I want to engage. I want to get more people involved in my preaching sessions. All that is there. That is for whom? The result is for whom? For Srila Prabhupada and for Krishna. So this is real yukta vairagya. This is called being asakta, being unattached to the result. Being unattached to the result it does not mean I give up the result altogether. And I will not do anything, I will sit quietly. That's not the meaning of asakta. Asakta means I am not interested in enjoying the result for myself. I want to give that result to Krishna and to my Guru, Prabhupada. That is real asaktaha. That is real detachment. So, simply by performing seemingly very simple menial tasks with my karmendriyas, with the use of my mind and intelligence, what happens? Krishna says, sa visishyate, we will excel all other yogis. A jnana yogi or a dhyana yogi may seem to be engaged in much better, higher activity than me. What am I doing? I am wiping the floor of the temple hall. I am cleaning the temple hall. I am calling somebody and talking to him, engaging in material talks. Oh, how are you? How is everything? How is your business going? Can I come and meet you today? Some Janmashtami seva is there. All material talks I am doing. But Krishna is saying that is higher than the Jnana Yogi and the Dhyana Yogi who seem to be exhibiting more Vairagya. Because the process of Bhakti Yoga is like that. The principle of Bhakti Yoga is like that. It will give us the Panchama Purushartha. All the Jnana Yogis and Dhyana Yogis, maximum they can go up to is only Moksha. They cannot go to Krishna Prema. Krishna Prema to generate, to develop Krishna Prema, these processes will not help. To Shushka Vairagya, dry renunciation, these are all material, reject everything. That will not help to develop Krishna Prema. What helps to develop Krishna Prema? As Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gita, that karma indriyahi karma yogam asaktaha indriyani manasa niyamya arabate. We control our senses, follow the regulatory principles and engage ourselves in physical service to carry out the instructions of our spiritual master. That will bring us to the stage of love of Godhead. Because why? Because we have to understand the principle of love, how it works. How do we develop love for someone? Of course, today the concept of love is, love at first sight. Boy and girl see each other for the first time and they fall in love. Actually, that's not love. That is kama. I look at a girl, oh, she's very beautiful. If she becomes my girlfriend, I can enjoy very nicely. And so I get attracted at first sight. That is called kama. Real love, if you have to develop, that love develops by service. Srila Prabhupada gives a wonderful example. In the olden days, of course, that practice is not relevant today, but in the olden days, the boy and girl used to get married at a very early age, at a very young age. And the boy and girl are unknown to each other. It's not that they have met each other on the social media platform and done some chatting with each other for some months, then done some dating, and then they have fallen in love. It's not like that. Those days, none of those facilities were there. So how will unknown boy and girl coming together, how will they develop affection for each other? How will they develop love for each other? So in the Vedic times, what would happen? The boy and girl, they would get married at a very early age, but the girl would not live with the boy until she attains puberty. But even then, even though they are living separately, still, whenever an opportunity arises, the girl will be told, go and take this glass of water and give it to your husband. She will go and give it. and serve this food to him. She will go and serve. So, by little service, gradually what happens is that boy and the girl will get to know each other, and gradually their affection will develop. Even in the case of Kardamumani and Devahuti, we can see how Kardamumani, in fact, he is a great Rishi, he is a great Muni. He had never met Devahuti before marriage. Suddenly one day, Swayambhu Manu came to his ashram and he said, I brought my daughter, I want to hand her over to you. He had not heard of her, he had not seen her, he had not spoken to her, nothing, just like that married. And you see in the previous verses how Kardamumani, when he started addressing Devahuti, it is mentioned here in the verse number, text number 5. Kardamumani Prema Gadgadaya Vacha Piditaha Kripaya Bravit. He spoke to Devahuti. Kardamumani was overcome with compassion and spoke to her in a voice choked with great love. So how did Kardamumani develop love for Devahuti? He never knew her. He just simply married her. Swayambhu Manu brought her, handed over, he married. That's all. How did he develop great love for Devahuti? Simply because Devahuti served him for a long period of time. So the principle of love depends on service. If there is no service, there is no question of love. In today's world, what happens is boy and girl come together, they tell what is all this service, what is all this being subservient and all that. Woman should be independent, she should be able to do whatever she wants. Man should be independent, husband should be independent, he does whatever he wants. They should both do their activities. There is no question of one serving the other. Both are equal. There is nobody subordinate to the other. And like this, they should live. So this is the modern concept. So what happens if husband and wife live like this? There will develop no love between them. Only the kama, the sexual attraction between the husband and wife will keep them together. That also will not last for long. After some time, it'll become dry. It'll become tasteless, and then divorce. So in the olden times, what used to happen, because this principle of service was built into the relationship of husband and wife, one of them had to serve the other. What happened? Because of that, both of them would develop deep affection, deep love for each other. And that bond could never be broken. So the principle, the basis of the principle of love is service. Without service, there cannot be love. There can only be some cooperation and some adjustment and some understanding, but there cannot be love. So, if we have to develop love of God, then the first, most fundamental thing we have to do is service. Without service, love of God cannot develop. I can read any amount of literatures, I may become a big scholar, I may be a big Sanskrit scholar, I may read all the Puranas, and I can read all wonderful, all the Goswamis, literature, everything I can read. But that will not develop love of God. Love of God develops in the heart of a person even though he has not read anything. If he simply, sincerely renders service to the Guru, if he sincerely renders service to Srila Prabhupada, then love of God will develop over a period of time. This is the principle on which devotional service works. And so therefore, this process of karmendriyehi karma yogam asaktaha, performance of our duty within the ambit of devotional service, whatever is assigned to me, I render that service sincerely, faithfully, and with full heart I render that service. What will happen is gradually my dormant love for Krishna will awaken. It will awaken. It has to awaken. There is no other way, as long as we stick to rendering our devotional service. So that is the example set forth by Devahuti and Kardamumani. Devahuti executed her service very nicely, sincerely, and the result was Kardamumani became very compassionate upon her, and he also developed love for her, and he said, okay, I'll give you the gift which I have got, which is love of Krishna. Similarly, we serve Srila Prabhupada with our karma indriyahi karma yogam asaktaha. We perform our duty. This is my assigned duty to Srila Prabhupada. I do my duty with full heart, full conviction, full sincerity, without any hesitation, without holding back anything, with full surrender, I render my service to Srila Prabhupada's instructions, what will happen? Prabhupada will become pleased. Prabhupada will become compassionate upon us. And Prabhupada will say, okay, take love of God. And then we can achieve love of God. Love of God is not something which I can take with my own power. I cannot demand love of. Why I am not getting love of Krishna? So many years I am chanting, so many years I am doing service. Why I am not getting love of Krishna? I cannot demand. Prabhupada has to be pleased and Prabhupada has to bless. Just like Devavati never demanded from Kartamumuni, oh my husband, so many years I am serving you. I have become frail, all my health is spoiled, my beauty is gone, everything is gone. What have you given me? Why don't you give me Krishna Prema? She did not ask. Without asking, she kept on rendering service. One fine day, Kartamumuni, it came in his heart, I have to give her the gift of love of God, and he gave. So that is why Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also said, don't try to see God, try to act in such a way that God will want to see you. In other words, don't try to extract Krishna Prema from Prabhupada. Try to serve Prabhupada in such a way that Prabhupada will give Krishna Prema to you. That is what will work. So these are wonderful principles of devotional life which are brought out by the Srimad-Bhagavatam. You can see how wonderful Srimad-Bhagavatam is. By describing the lives, the practical activities, how the pure devotees carry out their activities, we also learn how to perform our devotional service to Krishna. What kind of devotional life we have to lead to be able to develop Krishna Prema. Such wonderful examples of great pure devotees are given in the Srimad-Bhagavatam, from which we can draw inspiration and we can learn how to the kind of quality of devotional service we have to render to be able to become eligible to receive Krishna Prema from our Guru Srila Prabhupada. So this is a wonderful purport of Srila Prabhupada, where Prabhupada brings out all these principles. If there are any questions or comments, we can discuss. Yes, please. Go ahead. Sorry? We may have desire to render devotional service because of our material conditioning.
Sometimes we like, sometimes dislike. So how to overcome these conditions?
How to overcome these likes and dislikes? Actually, this liking and disliking and our hesitation to or lack of enthusiasm to do our service because of our likings and dislikings arises out of our Kali Yuga conditioning. In Kali Yuga, everything is measured in terms of the result we can achieve. If I am able to get the result which I want, then I like doing whatever is required of me. If I don't get the result, why should I do? No motivation. All the motivation in today's world, in today's society, is based on the result. First, they will show you the result. See, this is the result you will get. And based on that, all motivation is given. You look at all motivational speakers. They will all tell, this is the result you will get. So to get this result, you do this. People will get motivated. This is Kali Yuga conditioning. In actual Varnashrama system, the training was given was, don't worry about the result. Result may be positive, result may be negative, result may be favorable, result may be unfavorable. You should be focusing on, you should be attached to doing your duty. Duty was given the first priority. Now duty is not given the first priority. Result is given the first priority. Because of that, what happens? People become corrupt. People lose all their ideals. And there is no motivation to do good work. Why? Because the result is not good. So why should I do all these good things? There are so many people who are doing bad things and who are enjoying life. So for me, result is more important. So the means are not important, the end is important. In Varnashrama system, the training was the reverse. The end is not important, the means is important. So you have to do your duty without consideration of the result. And that is actually what Krishna is saying, karmendriyahi karma yogam asaktaha. You have to perform Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means what? Krishna has clearly defined what is Karma Yoga in the 3rd and 4th and 5th chapters of the Bhagavad-gita. Mainly 3rd and 5th chapter. What is that? Performance of our duty without attachment to the result. That famous verse of the Bhagavad-gita which everybody quotes but nobody understands. What is that? Karmanyevadikaraste. Everybody says that. Karmanyevadikara. Karma, we have to perform karma. We have to perform karma. The next portion they forget. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu katachana. That people forget. So you should not look at the result. Even if the result is detrimental for me, still I should perform my duty. So, and the whole Bhagavad-gita, this teaching of Krishna is exemplified by Arjuna himself. Arjuna did not like to fight the war. Because what was the outcome of the war of Kurukshetra? Arjuna already predicted. What is going to be the outcome? Everybody will kill each other, and whom we want to live with, and whom we love, and we share our bonds of family ties, they are all going to die here. All my uncles, grandfathers, teachers, everybody is going to die. Brothers, everybody is going to die. So if they all die, what is the use of my living? What will I do? Live all alone and do what? So such a kingdom if I get, then I will die of guilt my whole life, thinking that for the sake of this kingdom I killed all my relatives. I killed my guru, I killed my grandfather. That Bhishma Dev, who as a small child when I used to play in the mud and all that, and my hands, legs, everything would get dirty, and I would come running, and Bhishma would be sitting on the throne, and I would climb on his lap, and his dhoti will all get spoilt. And that Bhishma Dev would very lovingly make me sit on his lap and talk to me. He would not bother about my soiling his clothes. That Bhishma Dev I have to kill? Arjuna was asking, that Bhishma Dev I have to kill? Who so lovingly, who took care of me as a small child, from my childhood to my youth, he has always thought only of my welfare. Him I have to kill? Why should I fight this battle? I don't want to fight. So Arjuna knew that after the battle of Kurukshetra, all these people are going to die. It is going to be a great affliction for him. So he said, I don't want to fight this battle. Because after the battle is fought, everybody is dead, there is only misery. So he looked at the outcome. Misery is going to come out of this battle. He said, I don't want. But Krishna said, no, I want this battle. When Arjuna understood, oh, you want this battle, and my duty is to follow your instruction, my duty is to fulfill your desire. Therefore, even though the result is not to my liking, I will do my duty. I will go ahead and kill all of them. Not a small thing. What Krishna demanded of Arjuna. Can you imagine? Arjuna had to, so much loving Bhishma was towards Arjuna and to the Pandavas. That Bhishma he has to kill. Dronacharya, who is the teacher who taught him the art of warfare, to whom he is indebted. Dronacharya made Arjuna the greatest archer. Dronacharya did not even make his son Ashwatthama the greatest archer. He made Arjuna. He was so impartial. So how much Arjuna felt indebted to Dronacharya that he did not even bother about his son. He made me the greatest archer. So how much Arjuna was indebted to his guru, and that guru he has to go and kill. How can he do it? So you can see how it is such a great demand that Krishna placed upon Arjuna, that no, you have to go and kill. Arjuna said, okay, if you want it, then even though it is the most difficult thing for me, I'll still do it. That if you compare what Arjuna had to do, what is our liking and disliking? Some little bit is there, some little bit pull is there towards some material vasana is there. How much time does it take to give it up and then go and do that service? Look at Arjuna's position. Such a tough demand it was upon him. But he did it. So Arjuna has already given that example of how Karma Yoga is performed. How we have to be attached to our duty. So therefore, we should not give up our service just because I don't like to do it. My mind is not getting some material satisfaction out of that, so I will not do it. That should not be the consideration. Consideration is whether this activity will please Prabhupada and Krishna. If it will please, then I will do it, no matter what it is. Look at Prabhupada. Prabhupada left Sri Vrindavan Dham. Who would not like to live in Sri Vrindavan Dham? That too in Radha Damodar temple. Who would not like to live? Which Gaudiya Vaishnava would not love to live there? Prabhupada was comfortably living there. Whatever was required for his maintenance, for his paying his rent, for his food, everything was coming. Krishna was sending. There was no lacking for Prabhupada there in Radha Damodar temple. But still he went to the west. And while going to the west, what was in Prabhupada's mind? Prabhupada was thinking, when I go there, I don't know whether I'll get grains and vegetables to cook and offer to Krishna and have prasadam. If there is only meat available there, then I will starve. So Prabhupada, whatever little bit of rice and grains Prabhupada could carry, Prabhupada carried with him. Who knows what I will get there? Maybe I will not get anything. So let me carry something. After that, if I am not getting anything, I will starve. That's all. What is there? So why Prabhupada has to take so much difficulty? That too at that age of 69 years. And then on the ship, when Prabhupada was going, 2 heart attacks on 2 consecutive nights. And the captain of the ship, Pandyan, he came and told Prabhupada, shall I turn the ship back? Your health has worsened, it is very delicate. If you want, I will turn the ship back to India. What did Prabhupada tell? No, whatever Krishna wants, let it happen. You see, Prabhupada did not bother about all these things. What was Prabhupada's focus? I have to do my duty. My spiritual master has ordered me that I must preach to the West in English language. Therefore, even if I die on the ship, no problem. I'll die doing my duty, but I will not go back. So, that way if you see, if Prabhupada had seen what he liked, he would have comfortably stayed in Vrindavan Dham. Today all of us will not be sitting here. That's the reality. But Prabhupada did his duty. Prabhupada was so attached to doing his duty towards the spiritual master. All of us know that. In fact, when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disciples would go out for preaching, they would go out and address assemblies of people and all those kind of things, and every day he would get reports. One time one devotee came and told, one sannyasi came and told Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was very morose, that devotee was very morose, that sannyasi was very morose. And he told Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we went out today and for addressing a gathering, but only 3-4 people came. So we are very depressed. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, even if nobody has come, preach to the 4 walls. Preach to the 4 walls. Don't quietly come back. So Srila Prabhupada, when he went to the US, 1965 or 66, Prabhupada was sitting in his room. There was nobody to hear Prabhupada. Initial days were like that. So Prabhupada thought of his spiritual master's instruction and he started preaching to the 4 walls. And Prabhupada recorded that. And that recording became the introduction to the Bhagavad-gita. And today, what Prabhupada preached to the 4 walls is read by millions of people all over the world. So you see, Prabhupada did not worry that what is the result? There are 4 empty walls, I am the only person sitting here, let me sleep. No. Prabhupada said, I have to do my duty. My duty is to preach. Others' duty is to come and hear. Whether they come and hear or not, I will do my duty. So, Prabhupada also epitomized performance of duty irrespective of the result. Whether it is to my liking, it is to my disliking, that is unimportant. My material conditioning makes my mind like or dislike. How many of us love with great bhava and with great love? We look at chanting our 16 malas. How many of us are like that? All of us, are we looking forward every day? I'm going to get this opportunity to chant my 16 rounds. Is that what we are? No. Most of the time when we are looking at, we are chanting our rounds, we will be looking only 12 rounds, 4 more rounds still to go. Somehow I have to finish. So if you look at this one like that, then we should not chant. I don't like to chant, so stop chanting. When I come to the stage of liking chanting, then I will start chanting. That day will never come. So you cannot base the performance of your service on whether you like it or not. The process is you first perform your duty. As a duty, you perform your service. Gradually, you will start liking it. If you think whatever I like I will do, then that will not generate love of Krishna. The process works reverse. I have to do my duty first, whether I like it or not. Gradually, I will start liking it. So as a matter of duty, we are chanting our 16 malas today. But gradually, we will start liking it, we will start loving it, and then we will not be able to live without it. Then Krishna Nama will be so sweet that we cannot live without chanting Krishna's holy name. It will become like that. So that stage will come, provided at the beginning stage, even though we don't like, we perform that activity of duty of serving the holy name by chanting the 16 malas, at least dutifully we have to do. And put our effort how to chant soulfully and all that. Gradually we will start loving it, liking it. Is that okay? So that's the process we have to adopt. We should not base our performance of duties based on whether I like it or I dislike it. That's not, that's based on my conditioning, based on the influence of tamoguna, rajoguna. I may like something, I may dislike something. What has that got to do with devotional service? Devotional service is completely transcendental. Is that okay? Yes, please.
So Devavati served Kardamuni selflessly.
Yes.
And he gave the love of God.
Yeah.
So, giving the context, today's context, should a woman serve her husband or directly to the Lord to get the love of God?
So, Prabhupada mentions in that purport that in one of the previous purports also Prabhupada mentioned that. So, Prabhupada mentions in the purport, for a woman, the first principle of religion, that means it's the principle of dharma. It is not a principle of devotional service. It's a principle of dharma is to be faithful to her husband. If fortunately the husband is a great personality, then the combination is perfect and the lives of both the wife and husband are at once fulfilled. So if the husband is a great devotee like Karata Mumuni, the effect of rendering that selfless service by the wife to the husband will result in love of Krishna. If the husband is not such a great personality, if the husband is not a pure devotee, then what will happen? The wife will get some punya karma. Just like Gandhari performed, she also selflessly served her husband, Dhritarashtra. But Dhritarashtra was not a pure devotee. So what happened? She got some material power. She became powerful materially. So you'll get some punya karma. Next lifetime, the woman will get a much better birth and she will be able to progress in Sattva-guna gradually. One day, she will be able to come in touch with a spiritual master. So, in Kali Yuga, you cannot find such pure devotees for husbands. That used to happen in the olden ages. But then, the nature of the material world is that a woman requires a man and a man requires a woman. That's the way the material nature is designed. So, in the case of a woman in Kali Yuga, the best thing is she can try to marry a devotee and then serve Krishna. And if a woman is already married to a man who is not a devotee of Krishna, she can do whatever service is required for her material duties to be performed. At the same time, she can take shelter of Srila Prabhupada and render direct service to Krishna. So ultimately, service performed to a pure devotee is what gives us Krishna Prema. It is not performance of dharma. Performance of dharma will give us punya. And that punya will elevate us in our consciousness. Birth after birth, we go on performing punya. We will develop more and more of sattva guna. Gradually, we will be able to come to the point of being able to surrender to a pure devotee and go back to Godhead. So that will take many, many lifetimes. The direct process is take direct shelter of a pure devotee. So in Kali Yuga, we have got the great opportunity to take direct shelter of a pure devotee who is Srila Prabhupada. So his shelter we have to take. And like I said, performance of our material duties also cannot be neglected. So therefore, there is no harm in a woman serving her husband, even if he is not a devotee, as long as he is not violating the principles of dharma. That is what Shastras also says. Patim apatitam bhajet. As long as the pati is not fallen from the principles of dharma, the wife can serve the husband and by that she can gain punya karma. That is the understanding. So, but then if the husband happens to be a devotee, then that service has great value spiritually. Otherwise, it has no spiritual value, but materially it may have some value. That is how we have to understand. Yeah. So, we'll stop here. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।